Sisters, it's time to live with intention, embrace your unique beauty, and grow spiritually. Katrina, life enthusiast and author, will share with you empowering messages and motivations that will help you master belief in yourself and to walk in your purpose.
Welcome back to Beautifully Seasoned. This is your girl Katrina coming to you again today with another message. I want to talk to you today about Kevin Samuels. If you have not heard, Kevin Samuels passed away about a day or so ago from a heart attack. Kevin Samuels is a YouTuber. A social influencer. He was an image consultant, and his YouTube channel focused a lot on the concept of high valued women and high valued men. And it was very controversial because a lot of times with the women calling in and desiring that they want a high valued man, he would actually, he would chip them down. He would chop them down. He would talk about how they looked and what type of money they made and if they had children and things like that. And so he was very controversial in his responses. He wasn't particularly my favorite person, but I do hope that he rests in peace. I wanted to talk to you today because I just happened to stumble across Boyce Watkins' video, and his video talked about Kevin Samuels, and not in a negative way, but just in a way that brought a perspective and integrity into this whole concept of meaningful relationships between men and women. So before I start, I want to give you my superfood, my super supplement, like I usually do, and that I started to do. Hey, take a look at the omega-3 fatty acids. Now, with those, they help decrease your blood pressure, and then they actually help slowly buildup of the plaque in your arteries. Now, I specifically thought about this supplement because Kevin Samuels did die from a heart attack. And we know from your heart, if your arteries are not clear and they're not able to flow that blood to your heart, that's actually one of the reasons why you do have a heart attack. And so check it out, the omega-3 fatty acids. That's supposed to be very good at just slowing that buildup of plaque in your arteries. And then also we know that the foods we eat has a lot to do with it. Stress has a lot to do with it. And so, yeah, that is my nutrition tip for this time. And then also I want to add to your spiritual garden. And I'm going to go with Jude chapter 1, verses 19. And it says, "These are the people who divide you, who follow mere natural instincts and do not have the spirit." Now, I don't know what spiritual level that Kevin Samuel was on, but I must say, based on what I've heard from him, he really didn't bring spirituality too much into his sessions, into his messages, and yeah, and I think it kind of shows based on what his messages were, and that's what I want to talk to you today about. Now, Kevin Samuels, and let's talk about really what happened to him. He apparently met a young woman, and this woman went home with him. And at his home, they had sex, and he actually had a heart attack on top of her. And so that is what I've been hearing. I don't, I've been hearing over and over again. Some people even had the report plastered on the screen. And so that is what happened to him. Now, Kevin Samuels talked a lot about how women are a high valued man wants a high valued woman. Now, I listened to Boyce Watkins. I happened to stumble across him, like I said, and he gave a greater insight on what this really means. Now, first of all, a high valued man. Now, a lot of times, of course, we want a high valued man. We want a man who Basically, we're talking about money when we talk about high value man. A man who will be able to pay for the bills, a man who will provide for us and provide for our family. And so that is often what's thought about when we think about a high valued man. But Boyce Watkins so cleverly really gave me insight that all high valued men are not good people. We have high value men out there who are very arrogant, who are disrespectful, who would just go around cheating. They feel that they don't have to be accountable for anything. And so that's something that we need to think about as women if we're talking about having a high value man. Now, this is something that Kevin Samuels spoke about a lot, but Kevin Samuels didn't talk about a content of character of a high value man. He just talked about what woman that a high value man would want. Now, a lot of women called into his show. And you know what? I'm not going to say they were asking for it. I'm just going to say that they put themselves out there, and now they were attacked by Kevin Samuels, I guess you can say, because they were calling in saying that they want a high value man. They want a man who made money, money that they could actually combine their money with, or a man that could provide for them and take care of them. And so that's what Kevin Samuels, that is what his platform was. He definitely told them either he rated their appearance from a 1 to 10. A lot of times, from what the very few times that I've listened to him or saw him, he would say they're a 5 or a 4, or he would ask them, rate yourself. He would tell them that they're overweight or chubby. He would say, if you have children, high value men don't want a woman with children. If they were like 30, 35 or over, he would say that they were too old. These are things that that's what his message was about. And so, even though, we all know we need improvement, but it was just the way that he constantly, from in my perspective, kind of chopped these women down. And then on the other hand, these women who are solely going on with someone because of the money that they make, that's not right too. So I think the common denominator in all of this is that we need to be able to define what a high value woman and high value men are. Okay. And that is what I want to talk to you today about. Now, I want to focus on the high value woman now. And yes, I am a woman, and I am talking about a high value woman. And because I really feel that I know what a high value woman is. Now, if you're a man and if you don't agree to what I'm saying, get in touch with me and we could talk about it. I will be willing to put you on my podcast. But right now, I am going to give you my definition of a high value woman. Um, I just believe that Kevin Samuels did not focus on meaningful relationships. And just like the scripture said, he focused a lot on division. What can divide us? Your looks is going to divide you from the man in your life. And then also, and before I move on to this high value woman, I have to say this. Now, Kevin Samuels talked a lot about women. Okay, if you wanted a high value man, you are not enough for a high value man. Basically, that's what he was saying. And then he would suggest you just going to have to settle. You're going to have to settle. So whatever your standards are, you're going to have to cut down on them standards. Okay. Then he would always say, you're going to die alone, or you're going to die alone. And so that was one thing I didn't like. I don't like hearing that. That's very uncomfortable hearing that. And so it's like, okay, if you don't settle, you're going to have to settle, or you're going to die alone. And so that whole philosophy for him that's coming from him, I didn't agree with. I believe that some people might be single when they pass away. That doesn't mean they're dying alone. They might have family and friends around them, people who care about them that's around them. But I definitely don't feel that that means that you have to just settle for anyone. And we know that a lot of people do that. They just settle for anyone, that as long as they're in taking up space in their life. And so, of course, relationships are way more important than that. But one point that I want to make is that he has emphasized this, to die alone. And in a way, he has died alone. He did die alone. And this point was brought up by Boyce Watkins. And I must say, this was a very good point, that he brought this woman home that he did not know. And he had sex with her. He died. on top of a woman that he did not know. And so in a lot of ways he did die alone. He didn't die with someone that cared and loved him. He died with a one night stand. He died with a one night stand. Now, some men might say, well, ooh, if I died, I'd rather die, with her because she's a very attractive woman. Or I would have died, blah, blah, blah. But more than likely, if you die, you will want to die with some in the arms of someone who loved you, who cared about you, who treasured you. You will want that. I think we all would want that. And so, in a way, he did die alone. He did. He did. And but that was something he reinforced out there. Oh, you will die alone. You will die alone. I made Kevin Samuels rest in peace, but he focused more on division of people, and he to me he berated a lot of black women. He made them feel bad about themselves. Now I take that back right away. As fast as I said it, no one can make you feel bad about yourself but you. So no one, you should not be giving anyone that power to make you feel bad about yourself but your own self. But me listening to it, listening to tell these women this and that, it was just kind of heartbreaking. I just didn't like the feeling that I had listening to him. It wasn't inspiring. It wasn't motivating. It wasn't positive. To me, his messages wasn't. He made a laughing stock of women. He did. And for men, I think they felt empowered because they felt that he was that voice for them. But I will hope that just like with Boyce Watkins, that they're not. I mean, I just hope that they wasn't getting their masculinity through Kevin Sanders, or they wasn't feeling empowered through Kevin Sanders. Saying Sanders, what I'm talking about. I'm getting his name mixed up. But anyway, so as we move along, Kevin Samuels, I'm sorry. As we move along, I want to bring up what I feel that high value women are. And so one thing that Boyce Watkins did bring up, and he talked about that a woman is many layers to us. So it's not just what Kevin Samuels has said. You have to be young with a nice body, very attractive, very pretty, no children, and when I say pretty, according to society standards, pretty, okay, that whole thing. I even remember seeing or hearing him say that if he met a woman who had already been out of the country and been traveled, then what good would she be for him? Because he wants someone that hasn't been so that he can have these firsts with her. But if she's been out of the country before and she's traveled places, that's not going to do him any good. I don't know, his frame of mind was just, I don't know. I mean, but everybody's entitled to what they feel and how they think, but I definitely didn't agree with him. A high value woman, first of all, you want, and I'm talking to the men. If a man is listening to this right now, if a man is listening to this right now, I would think that you want to go deeper than the exterior. You will want to go deeper than my outfit. You want to go deeper than my shape. You want to go deeper than my makeup and my hairstyle. You want to go deeper than that. So yeah, if at first, yeah, that is that first attraction, but how about going deeper? How about looking at those different layers of me, those different dimensions of me? You want a woman who loves the Lord. It's not better than having a woman who pray for you every day. And you know what? Prayer does change things. And prayer helps us grow. And we're able to deal better with life when we acknowledge God as being that first foremost all in our lives, and to acknowledge how magnificent he is. And so a woman who loves the Lord, a woman who can pray for you, a woman who could cover your household, that is powerful. That is powerful. I'm telling you. And so, a high value woman is definitely a woman who loves the Lord, a woman who takes care of her body, whether she's feeding her body nutrients and taking care of her internal self, and she's taking care of her external self by making sure she just looks appropriate, looks good, and feels comfortable in the clothes she's in. It doesn't mean that you have to wear designer clothes all the time, but just clothes that you feel good in and that is stylish for you, taking care of her skin and all of that as well. A woman who is intelligent. A high value woman is intelligent. An intelligent woman is a woman who seeks knowledge, who's always seeking to learn new things, a woman who can communicate with you and talk to you about various topics. And so, yeah, an intelligent woman is a high value woman. A woman who has good judgment and who is wise. If you're in a relationship with a woman who's making wise decisions, that is valuable. That is definitely valuable. A woman who is wise, who has learned from past mistakes, and as she's moving forward, she's using those lessons in her life. And so, definitely, that's part of a high value woman. A woman who is loyal. I'm sure a man wants a woman who is there by his side, who is going to show up for him, who is going to be there supporting him all the way. And so, a woman who is loyal. I've heard about a lot of sisters who've been loyal to their men and they've still just turned their backs on them. And so, in that case, we just have to move on. But loyalty goes a long way. Being there for you, being there for your man, being there for your husband, and being loyal, backing them up, having their back all the way, having their back. And so, I believe that's important. A woman who is walking in her purpose is also attribute for a high valued woman. A woman who is doing something meaningful in her life, in her career, in giving some kind of way that she's sharing her gifts to the world, because we know that that's what our purpose is here, is to add something good to the world. So whatever it is that we have inside of us, some kind of way we're making the world better. Okay, so walking in her purpose, definitely. Okay, how does that woman love? A woman who loves, a woman who can love unconditionally, a woman who could be vulnerable. A high value woman is not a woman who has this tough exterior, but a woman who's able to be vulnerable, a woman who's able to be feminine, a woman who knows how to love, or who can love. Okay, and they can love without being passive, about without being a doormat, but really able to exhibit love. And so I believe that those are the attributes to a high value woman. Also, of course, the content of her character. Okay, her value system, her morals. Okay, not a woman who will fall for anything, but a woman who has standards. A woman who has standards. And so that goes back to not having to settle. Okay, and I think a lot of our women, we do settle. So yeah, let's think about being a high value woman. And unfortunately, Kevin Samuels, he did not really talk too much about the content of character. He didn't talk about that as being a high valued woman. He talked mostly on the exterior of how the woman looks, her body shape, how she is attractive, she has money for herself, and all these different things. And don't get me wrong, we want to take care of ourselves. We want to have those things too, but that doesn't sum up a high value woman to me, in my opinion. And so, yeah, think about that. I also wanted to talk to you about the high value man very briefly, because I want to do a separate podcast on that. But the high value men that Kevin Samuels talked about, and I believe that he could consider himself as a high value man, and that a lot of times that they might not be the kind of men that we will want, even though we will want the money. But there's sometimes a lot of drama that's involved with that. And some men get their masculinity from the internet, and some men was probably get their masculinity from Kevin Samuels, and so that's what they fed from, and that's who they feel that summed up who they were as a man, instead of standing their own ground and say, okay, I'm going to move about the world and selecting a woman that I feel suits me. And you know what? Don't get me wrong. We all can change. We all can improve ourselves, and we should be. And I'm talking about both men and women. If we know if it's something that's wrinkled and crinkled inside of us and that doesn't work, and that we know that we need to work on, we have to be real with ourselves, that's what we should be working on, so that we can actually develop into the women and men that we were meant to be. It all comes from self-improvement. But I feel if you're a spokesperson and if you mean well for the community and the culture, that you will find a way to bring people together and not divide them, bringing finding ways for us to get along with each other. Do you know how powerful Kevin Samuels would have been if he found ways to bring women and men together on common ground and not conflict? And not dividing and not degrading, but some kind of way bring us together. Okay. So yeah, think about that. But may Kevin Samuels rest in peace. For whatever, I don't know what other kind of man he was. I don't know what kind of father he was, what kind of husband at that time when he was married, what he was. He did in his life having a lot of followers on YouTube, a lot, a lot of that, but a lot of people didn't feel he didn't really generate love and respect, and he didn't generate integrity in my eyes. I didn't see that. I saw a lot of division. He definitely didn't support meaningful relationships, and he didn't dig deeper into knowing, okay, a man and how he feels, and a woman and how she feels, and really looking at the person. And but I think a lot of the supporters added to that. They fueled and they added to what he was saying, and so that what made him very popular. So as we move on, I just encourage you just to work on you and to be the best you can be. And I'm gonna work on being a high value woman, and just being the best me that I can be, and continue to work on me. And I suggest that for you as well. And I really believe that God has someone for everyone. And so that person will come into your life, whether that person is a millionaire or not, and that you will have a life together that is meaningful and loving and quality, and just something that you could be happy in. And so let's not get ourselves so wrapped up into this exterior thing and this battling between men and women. Black men and women, we've been doing that for too long. We need to stop it. It's always we got black men bringing women down. You got black women bringing black men down, and we need to come together. We do. And so if you want to do a YouTube channel, do a YouTube channel and bring in black men and women together. Let's work it out. Let's talk it out respectfully. Let's honor each other. Let's try that and see if we can get over a million views for that one, and how good that will be for our culture. And you know what, how good that will be for our children as they coming up in this culture as well, being able to respect and honor each other. And so that's what I want to share with you today. Just my take on Kevin Samuels. Like I said before, I hope that he rests in peace, and my deepest sympathy goes out to him and his family. But I did disagree with a lot of his beliefs and his messages, and I think they caused more havoc than they did peace, and they didn't bring women and men together. They separated us, and they made women walk away feeling worse than they felt before. I just didn't like that. But moving along, we can all do better. I know we can. Before I leave, I just want to tell you that you could go on my website, www.beautifullyseasonedyou.com, and you can subscribe to my Patreon page at patreon.com, Beautifully Season You, and get a membership. I hope you found value in what I spoke to you today about. And if you want to talk about high value men, if it's a man, go ahead and send me an email in standing inside myself 6, that's the number 6, at gmail.com, and we could talk about it. Perhaps you could be on my podcast. Okay. Thank you for listening, and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there and all the things that you do. We're multitaskers, so we do a lot. And so even if your kids are grown, I know you still loving up on them and them grandchildren too. So happy Mother's Day to you. Definitely happy Mother's Day. I'm going to say a prayer for you. And this is a prayer that I got from Joel Osteen. And I'm going to sing you on your way. You are blessed, prosperous, redeemed, forgiven, talented, motivated, valuable, free, determined, equipped, empowered, anointed, accepted and approved. You not average and you not mediocre. You are a child of the Most High God, and you will become all you was created to be. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. I pray that for you today. I really do. Tell someone about the Beautifully Seasoned podcast. And you could donate to Beautifully Seasoned. How about sending me a cup of coffee? No, not a cup of coffee. What I'm talking about, I like tea. Send me and donate for a cup of green tea. I would like that. I really would. Thank you for listening, and I will be talking to you next time. Love you. Bye bye.
You have been listening to Beautifully Seasoned with Katrina. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to share with another sister. Never miss an episode. You will find us on Spotify, Anchor FM, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and all other podcast platforms. Check out our website, www.beautifullyseasonedyou.com. Read Katrina's story, Standing Inside Myself, a journey of self-love, wisdom, power, and purpose. Available on Amazon. You can also reach out to Katrina with your comments or life coaching requests to standinginsidemyself6@gmail.com.